Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kieno Thomas, and today we're going to talk about my new system, or actually this is like a prototype of the system. It's the sectional chart symbol flashcard system. It's to help pilots get more familiarized with aeronautical chart systems, and if you're already a rated pilot, this keeps you sharp and keeps you current. Okay. This kicked off. Alright, like I said, this is an expanded briefing for the sectional aeronautical chart systems, or chart symbols, I'm sorry, slide series. Okay, so like I said, this is to help you guys out if you're working on your private pilot certificate in your spare time. You can just go and just kind of, it's a slideshow, but this kind of explains what's going on in the slideshow. There's also going to be a slideshow in plain format, no music. Then there's going to be one with classical music, hip-hop, and rock and roll. So either you can listen to nothing at all, just watch the symbols, or you can listen to some music while you watch the symbols. So this is a prototype, and I just kind of I appreciate your feedback to let me know what you guys think. And my email will be posted at the end of this video. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Look for more videos to come. There's also going to be a IFR, or low altitude and route chart, and also instrument approach plate slide system as well, coming soon. Okay, so basically this gives you the opportunity to look at the symbol and decide what it is. You'll see this will float for like about 2-3 seconds, then it will jump to what it actually is, and this is an abandoned airport paved having landmark value and is 3,000 feet or greater. Okay, and then after that, we're going to have an example of what we have going on now. On this slide, basically what you're going to see is the arrow point, CT 118.3, and what is that? That's the control tower frequency. So that's what it gives you a couple seconds, kind of, hey, look, what's this? And then boom, and you say what it is, and then it confirms for you. And here's Griffiths International, control tower frequency of 118.1. So it gives you an example. After it shows you the symbol, and this is a airspace band, or ring, or boundary I should say, and then it's the air defense identification zone. And then we take you to the contiguous United States Air Defense Identification Zone. So I think you guys have the gist of what's going on now. Sometimes there won't be any chart examples, and we'll just give you like, okay, that's aerial cable, there's no chart example. Class Bravo ring, we're going to have an example of that, and that yellow arrow will point directly to the Class Bravo ring here. And this ring actually, it begins at 3,000 feet and tops out at 7,000 feet. Okay. So these things will just be flashing. You'll look at that and be, oh, it looks like some bridges, aqueducts, or viaducts, or, so. And it'll keep going, and then it'll give you an example. And I don't know why my arrow's not there, but we'll get that fixed in the actual slide segment. Airspace ring. This is Class Delta airspace, and then we'll give you an example of Class Delta airspace. So this thing will just be sliding along, and you'll look at this in your spare time, and you see Class E airspace, 700 feet AGL and above, and then the ring points in here. So inside these boundaries is Class E airspace, 700 feet above the surface. Okay, so this is like something, if you're killing time and you're just sitting there, you may as well be staying sharp, just because time is the most important asset you have. It's the most valuable resource you have. So don't waste your time. Come and check out my slideshows so you can stay sharp with your chart, symbols and stuff like that. And you know, there's going to be more to come. And I'll just back up to this one, okay, just for our purposes. Flight service station, no special VFR is allowed at this airport. It would be the name of the airport identifier, control tower, ATIS, 285 feet above mean sea level. This has continuous lighting. There are no limitations because there's no star next to the L. The longest runway is at this airport will be in hundreds of feet, so 7,200 feet. The airport advisory frequency 122.95. Right patterns for runways 23 and 34. VFR advisory 125.0, and this is an airport of entry. But all we pointed at was the ATIS, and so I just floated through that since I was here. And then you can see an ATIS frequency here at Wilkes-Barre Scranton Airport. Again, it follows the format. Wilkes-Barre Scranton International Airport, Alpha Victor Papa. We don't say AVP, we say Alpha Victor Papa phonetically, because we're talking about this over the radio, this particular airport over the radio. It eliminates, AVP, JVP, JVB. When I say Alpha Victor Papa, I'm saying it phonetically, so it can't be misconstrued. Control tower frequency 120.1, but ATIS is 111.6. Airspace ring. Alright, that's Class Charlie. I know it's Class Charlie. Designed this. Alright, Class Charlie. And you know what? As you're looking at this, just kind of look at the other stuff. Look at the boundaries, okay? 2,100 to 4,200 feet. This ring here. We have Class E underlying this, and we'll go into details about why they do that, but I just want you to pay attention. It just seems like it's just lined up with this runway perfectly, and so keep that in mind. Unicom is the airport advisory frequency 122.95. Objectionable. Airport may adversely affect airspace use. Here's another airspace boundary, and this is pretty cool because what I've done is we're looking at this as an alert area or military operations area. The military operations area here, and it's depicted in the magenta or reddish color boundaries, but we have MISTI 3 MOA and MISTI 2 MOA, and then we have a restricted area which we're going to get into later. But the restricted area, we're not going to talk about MISTI 2. What I've done in this slide is I've gone to the air-ground communications panel, which if you look at my introduction to sectional charts, you'll know where that is located. And MISTI 2, so MISTI 2, that's the name of the military operations area. Altitude 300 feet AGL, but not including 18,000 feet. It's a little weird, so sometimes you gotta look at it twice. And there's a star too there, but 300 feet AGL, 2, but not including 18,000 feet. So this is 300 feet AGL. This military operations area is 300 feet AGL above ground level, 2, but not including 18,000 feet. So it goes up to 17,999 feet. Hours of operation. So let's just say if I was supposed to be flying through here, do I want to fly through here? Current time, we'll just say it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And these are in local time, so MISTI 2 MOA. 0800 to 2200, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. So it's not, well, this portion is kind of restricted, but we would have to go to the air-ground communications tab and look it up. But you know what? I would probably talk to flight service, or you could talk to Cleveland Center as you're flying through, and just see what's going on in the MISTI 2 MOA, or the MISTI 3 MOA. If I had to fly through here, you could talk to Cleveland Center on 127.47. So there's a wealth of information on your sectional chart to keep you out of trouble. Here is an alert area to A-220. And what I've done is taken the liberty of, and you can't really see the top like I wanted to bring it in, I'll tighten that up, but alert area 220. Alright, surface to 4,500 feet. Alright, so there's probably some type of area, some gunnery going on, like tanks or something like that going on in there. But 0800 to 2200, there's nobody to talk to. So when you're filing your flight plan, if you're flying through this area, I would probably stay at about 6,000 feet. I would probably stay about 6,000 feet in this area. McGuire, you can't see it, but McGuire Air Force Base is right about there, and so it's kind of hard to get all this information on. Okay. This boundary is for prohibited, restricted, and warning areas. Okay. Kennebunkport. This is up in Maine. This is P67. Just take my word for it. I didn't have a whole lot of real estate, and I was trying to get the chart clip in here. But P67 to 1,000 feet. All right. So, and then there's some other stuff up here. Unless otherwise noted, altitudes are mean sea level and in feet. Time is local. To, and altitude means to and including, unless they say otherwise. But this will be ground to 1,000 feet. Time of use is continuous. So, you know, a prohibited airspace, you want to be very, very careful. You don't want to just be blowing through there and stuff. And you really want to be talking to somebody. But snow air ground contact, I probably would avoid. I would definitely fly around and avoid, or be very, very high. Because, I mean, it goes up to 1,000, but me personally, I would not even fly over it. Even though there's a limitation, I still wouldn't fly over it. I just, you know, keep myself out of trouble. Okay, we have restricted area. Notice that it's still the same boundary. Same boundary. Alright, but it's labeled different. R, that tells you it's restricted 5001, Alpha, and Bravo. So I'll put them up here. McGuire approach, you know, again, the real estate on the screen, you know, I needed to preserve a little bit. So it's a little jammed up, and I will tighten it up, but here's 5001 Alpha and 5001 Bravo. Now, you might look at this and be like, oh, well, Alpha is only going to 4,000. Well, you got to look again, because Bravo's here too, and it's going 4,000 to 8,000. So you do not want to get yourself in trouble. Couple things here. If you look up here, and like I said, it's kind of off, but other times by NOTAM. So if we were flying around in this area and we were getting a pilot briefing, and our route of flight was coming around here, they will probably be talking about the alert area or a restricted area. I'd be less concerned about the alert area, more concerned about the restricted area, because these are serious. Anytime you got prohibited, restricted, warning, alert. Alert area is just kind of be on the lookout. It's like a military officer. Just keep your eyes open and you use caution, and actually be talking to somebody. You know, and we'll get into that with your radio communications video that I will be putting out soon. But you know, so it's not just the 4,000 feet. It's already going to 8. It's going to 8,000. Looks like Friday through SS. I have no idea what that means, but I would, you know, Friday through Sunday. But another thing you could get with your 1-800-WX brief, and you talk to your briefer, and you ask them, hey, look, I was looking at the air ground communications panel, and I was looking at restricted area 5001 Bravo, and from 4,000 to 8,000 feet, it's saying SR Fry -SS and then Sunday, you know, and then you got this plus symbol. I mean, they know this stuff, and they will help you. That's what they're there for. They give you flight information, and then, you know, you have your instructor you can talk to. If you're training, I'm sure there's a crap load of instructors just sitting around really not doing much. I mean, not all the time 100%, and you can be, hey, what does this mean? And you know, because we all rely on each other's knowledge for what we know. But restricted areas, that's like prohibited areas. I would not be just playing around. I note the altitudes, and I'd probably stay clear of this. The alert area, I'd probably be at like 6,000 feet. But I've noted the altitudes. Warning areas, I would stay away from too. You know, just, you know, this is Whiskey 107 Bravo. Whiskey, and I'm saying that phonetically, 107 Bravo. All right, 2, but not including 2,000 feet. So I'm just saying it's going surface to 1,999 feet, almost 2,000 feet. It's intermittent by NOTAM Washington Center, you can't see that on the outside, but Washington Center is the controlling agency. And I'm going to tighten all this stuff up on the actual slides. But just something to just, you want to know, if you're flying in this area, you want to know where to go in the air-ground communications panel. And again, go to my introduction to sectional charts. And you can find out where this air-ground communications panel is. And floating along, ATIS 123.8. So, just to back up. So, for the actual slideshow, basically it's going to show the boundary. You're going to say, oh, that's a prohibited, restricted, or warning area. And then it's just going to give you examples. There's a prohibited area. Here's a restricted area. Here's a warning area. So it's going to flow. With the expanded briefing, I'm kind of discussing what's going to happen. So when you go to it, it's important that you look at the expanded briefing first so you have an idea of what's going on. Griffiths Air Force Base. Right, so what's that? Automatic Terminal Information Service. ATIS here is 118.7 at Griffiths. AWOS. Airport Surface Observation System or Automated Weather Observing System or Observation System, and the frequency it can be monitored on. That shouldn't have happened. We tightened this up earlier, but it's okay, because you know what I'll do? I will bang. I will pull you in. Boom. And we're back. There we go. Alright, so basically what we have here is the ASOS that we just talked about when we were talking about AWOS and ASOS. This is blue, so it would be at a controlled field, but not only uncontrolled field or non-towered airport could also be having the same type of system. You look at this symbol, what does that mean? I know it's class delta, it's the vertical limit. But if there was a minus, it would be up to, but not including that value. So if there's a minus symbol here, it would be 3,999 feet. Here, Griffiths Air Force Base, 3,000 feet is the vertical limit of the Class Delta airspace, Class G. I really couldn't find any Class E starting at 700 feet that was connected to Class G, but I will look for that. I am actually still looking for it because I try to find an example for all these symbols. What do the two arrows represent? That is a intersection. What does a blue center line represent? That is a low altitude federal airway called Victor 69. What does the 169 in the box? The distance between two nav aids. So you probably see a VOR over here and a VOR on this side if we had to expand a look at this. Here, Federal Airway, light blue. Here's an intersection, Corda. 33 miles is the distance between these two nav aids. This nav aid is on the field because we could see the dot. Okay, and we could see the VOR compass rose. Alright, so the distance between these two nav aids is 33 feet. And I pointed at that in an example. Blue, I actually found Class E airspace starts 12, and right here. You don't see these often, but wow, I was really shocked when I found that. Okay, common traffic advisory frequency, and here's the depiction here at Olympia Regional Airport. Control tower, we've been looking at control tower frequencies always. Here's a control tower frequency here, 124.4. The difference between towered airports and non-towered airports. Towered airports are blue, non-towered airports are magenta, or I just call them red. Magenta. Here's another Gray Army Airfield, Lewis McChord, 119.325 is the frequency there. So, crosshatch indicates the shutdown status when it's associated with the VOR shutdown status. So, I think you guys get the gist of it. It floats through different things here and just asks you different questions. You see this symbol, what's that mean? There's a glider operations exist in this area, and then it'll give you a sample. So I think we got this dog pretty much beat to death here. I'm just floating along, to the last slide. And there's a lot of them, just to keep you sharp. And like in your spare time, you open up your phone, you pop the video, and you just start looking at oh, this is an interesting one, the T route. Alright. But you look at your symbol, airspace ring, that's a mode C veil. And then it says, okay, here's an example of the mode C veil. So all you guys, it's gonna, being in pilot training, you got a lot to learn. And so in your spare time, don't waste your time. If there's nothing going on, all you got to do is pop open your phone, go to YouTube, like and subscribe, and stay sharp, dude. And it's totally free. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using this. It's totally free. It's not going to cost you a dime. And there's quite a bit here, quite a bit of information here. And I'm just flowing around, so I'm trying to get to the end here, at least, so I can get to my last plate where it just tells you to like and subscribe, and we're getting there. Let me back up, because this is something you don't really see. The terminal radar service area boundaries is kind of like, it looks like Class Charlie airspace. It's got some boundaries and stuff going on here, but it's definitely something you don't see all the time. This is in the Youngtowns Airport area in Ohio. You're going to probably be seeing more of these unmanned aircraft aerial activity, UA, and wood turbines. This is a turbine farm, and this represents the height, mean sea level, of the highest elevation of the top. So mean sea level. So I would give myself a good, at least VFR, I would give myself a good 500-foot clearance. So I'll probably be at 3,500 feet. I've rounded up to 3,000 and add 500 just to stay clear of all that stuff. And let me just back up. UC means under construction, or required point and elevation is unverified. So it's just, it's a construction issue. The elevation or reported point, it may be kind of in this area or whatever. It might be repositioned something or going under construction, or being built. Alright, so here we have a wind turbine. There's no sparks coming out of it, so this does not have high intensity lighting. And out of all this whole wind farm boundary, 3,833. So again, 4,500. I would not be crossing this thing less than 4,500 feet. Let's move around, see if we can just see anything interesting. But yeah, here's we're looking at the VOR, but here's another prohibited and restricted area that you could look at, and we should be getting to the end, and we are. So look, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Any input you can give me, you can email me at kienothomas@gmail.com. In the subject box, please put aviation. The actual slides are going to be coming up soon. The playing classical music, hip-hop music, and rock and roll. So thanks for watching. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.